Welcome to the M6P, and we've got some huge news. We're going to be talking about the new X-Men reboot, but not a reboot, kind of continuation from X-Men, the animated series. Disney just announced it, and so we thought we'd jump on here and have four guys talk about how pumped we are. So I'm Jared. I am one of the co-hosts of the M6P, and my favorite character from X-Men, the animated series was Storm. Next.
Yeah, I'm Darren, co-host of the M6P versus the MCU, and now we're doing just something random. And my favorite character from the original series is Gambit. Can't you tell that's the Gambit shirt? There we go.
Nice.
All right. You go, John.
So I'm John, and my favorite character from the original X-Men series was also Gambit. I just loved the series as a kid. I'm very excited to see it come back.
All right. I'm Kevin. I'm just a guy, and my favorite character was Beast.
Beast. Favorite character was Beast. Oh,
no!
Hey,
we've got our special guest. Rick has arrived. Welcome,
Rick, we're live already, by the way.
Dang.
Welcome,
Gosh,
man.
darn it.
You're fine. You're fine. Just tell us who you are and who your favorite character from X-Men the Animated Series was.
Not Jubilee. That one was taken. Rick O'Callaghan. Favorite character, Sabretooth. Gonna go with that one.
Okay, cool.
Love Sabretooth. That unbridled just rage sometimes.
Nice.
Sorry, my dogs are barking.
That was a great cue right there, right on time. Well, so on Saturday was the big Disney Plus day when all kinds of new Disney information was released. And one of the things that they released was that X-Men, the animated series, was going to be continued and be called X-Men 97. At least that's the running title right now, because originally X-Men, the animated series, ended in 1996. And this show is going to pick up in right from where it left off. That last episode, Professor Xavier went with Lilandra into space, and all the X-Men, along with Magneto, are standing there watching off into the distance. End scene. So supposedly that's where it's going to pick up from. Some of the original creators are going to be involved. The Leewads are going to be involved. You can see their book is right behind Kevin, and their other book is right behind me as well. They were what you would call today a showrunner. That's what they did on the show back then. And both of those books are great. So pick them up if you get a chance. You can read it all in one setting. It'll take you all day, but they're just they're like juicy. They're really, really good. And Larry Houston is also going to be involved. Larry Houston.
Jared, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
So I would recommend this book to anybody that's just a fan of how television shows are created, especially this one. Even if you aren't an X-Men fan, just the behind the scenes of how a television show is created is fascinating in this book back here. So, sorry.
Yeah, no. And even like how things used to be done compared to now, there weren't even showrunners. It was just like, Eric, good luck. God bless. We're not going to give you that title, go figure this out, And Larry Houston, he's going to be back. He was the art director for the original animated series, and he's the one that was responsible for sticking in Black Panther and not telling the heads up that Black Panther was going to be in the episode, and Spider-Man's hand and all those cameos. That was his doing. So that was really, really sweet. And then we know a couple of the other people that are going to be involved that are newcomers to the show, but from what they posted on their Twitters, it looks like they're huge fans and they want to continue the style and the look and all that fun stuff. And what is really surprising with the news is that the majority of the cast that is still living is going to return to voice their characters, from Mr. Sinister to Storm, Gambit, Wolverine. They're all coming back except for Jubilee, and they're going to reprise their characters. I know, Rick, you're going to be upset about the Jubilee thing, but you'll make it through, man.
Yeah, we'll tough it out.
So when I first got this news, I was at Grand Rapids Comic Con, and I literally read it on my phone. I told Darren, I said, Darren, there's going to be a lot of news today, post stuff. And he's like, I'm really busy too. And I pulled it up and I read it, and I legit, right here, there was some water. I don't know if the roof was leaking. It's at an old building, if you've been to that con, but there was water right here. And then the water cued all these goosebumps. And I was just like, I was just beside myself. So I talked enough. How did you guys feel when you first heard the news that it was coming back?
I was ecstatic. I was like, please don't ruin this though. Because like with everything, you're worried about like, are they going to tarnish it? Is it going to be like bad anime like they did the Thundercats, you know, Jared's favorite. But yeah, I was really worried about that. But I seen the pictures from the art and it looks good. So I'm down. That shaped all of our childhoods, I guess, you know, speaking for everybody here. Sure. Can't wait.
I feel kind of the same way. It's kind of just like, oh wow, they're really doing it, you know. I don't think it's really soaked in a whole lot, but like my main thing is like, yeah, I know. I honestly feel that like Disney's starting to get a little off track on some of the MCU stuff, and I just hope that they don't. I just hope that the reboot of this doesn't get mixed up in there. But yeah, not all the MCU stuff. I just like, I don't know. I get worried.
I agree, Darren, with your point. First, I thought my first reaction was, is this real? Because you see a lot of stuff like this that turns out to be just some, you know, fake news. But especially with the title 97, you know, they're going back right to that original X-Men cartoon, the exact one that we all enjoyed so much. But yeah, it is a thing with the new Marvel stuff. I think a lot of the MCU is suffering because we don't care as much about the characters they're putting out there. So to bring back the X-Men, hopefully this is the start of them highlighting the X-Men. What's funny is I have gotten a lot of like decor as gifts in recent years, and none of it has X-Men in it. It all says Marvel and it has everybody. And I was looking for something to put in the background, and I don't really have any X-Men because it's not in with all the rest of the Marvel. Hopefully this being on Disney Plus, something new, something X-Men is going to bring them back. And then we just work on Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four. And then finally all will be right with the world.
Yes.
I was pretty excited about it. The series had a fairly abrupt ending, especially if you were watching it week to week. So it's even if it's just one series, just to finish out the loose threads that they kind of started to dangle there at the end. I'm interested to see how they're going to close all that out, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, especially with all the returning cast. Yeah, I think this is a really good opportunity. So
Absolutely. Like, so with that, I know how excited I was to hear it. And I think part of it was because, X-Men and the animated series is what got me into comic books. It got me into Marvel. I knew who Batman was. I remember going to see Batman Returns with Penguin and Catwoman, and I saw all that stuff. But superheroes, I didn't really know much about Spider-Man or the Avengers. And so I remember seeing a commercial for this show called X-Men. And I said, I'm going to watch it. Halloween, watched that morning. And I'd never seen anything like it before. And it completely, you can see my room, like it completely changed my life from seeing that episode. I remember right after we were finished, my sister and I was like, let's play X-Men. And we didn't know who did what. And we were just trying to figure it out. We were trying to be the characters.
That's broken.
You can move things
making it up. And just making it up as it goes. And so it really just had a huge influence on me. And that's what got me into the comic books. So I guess for you guys too, did you guys have a jumping on point with Marvel because of X-Men the animated series, or were you in it beforehand?
I was in it way beforehand. I was a kid growing up that my favorite cartoon growing up was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And that was, and my dad had a huge comic book collection, so I was kind of handed those down. So yeah, I was really lucky. My first comics were written by Stan Lee. Those were the first comics I read. So I was always a comic book fan, and I was always a Marvel fan because that's what my dad was. I was excited back in the day because I remember just randomly catching on television the Pride of the X-Men. And for me back in the day, that was the coolest thing ever because, oh man, Wolverine and Colossus and all these cool guys. And so I was really excited about that, and I wanted it to become more. So when I, discovered the animated series, I was, I was turning 13 in like 2 days after this came out. And so this came out, and Batman the Animated Series came out right before it. So I was becoming a teenager, and I actually felt like at that point in time there was a cartoon that was growing up with me. These didn't feel like kiddie cartoons. They weren't. I don't want to call them mature, because I mean they're still for kids, but it didn't feel like the old kiddie stuff that I had been watching. It was cartoons were growing up with me, and I could still enjoy them even as all my friends kind of moved away from them and discovered girls and all that crap that I wasn't good with. So I still had my little geekdom that I could have fun with on Saturday mornings. Yeah.
So I was definitely into Marvel before this. For me, my dad would always take me to the local card shop, and they always had comics. So I would get a couple comics. It wasn't just Marvel, but I remember like Maximum Carnage way back when I was picking those up right when they came out, and then always collect the Marvel Ultra and Skybox cards, the X-Men Skybox. Yeah, there you go. And I guess, yeah, so when the X-Men cartoon came out, it was so crazy to see all these things that I'd seen in just comics and cards just come to life. That's for me was the magic of it, just to see some of those Marvel characters, especially Wolverine. Even though Gambit's my favorite, everybody going into that knew who Wolverine was, like more so than the other characters, I would say. Yeah, that was just when seeing it come to life. I mean, that was. If Disney does it like that, and Disney has the capability to do things like that, I hope it blows up. I do.
Right. I was also into the Marvel beforehand. I remember waiting outside the comic book store to open to get every copy of X-Men #1 that I could, and as the different A, B, C, D, E covers, and they're both all worth almost double what I paid for them now. So that's really not what I was thinking was 12 or 13 back then. But then, yeah, just to see that team, it was basically the Jim Lee team in his designs, and then just Storm instead of Psylocke. And I thought that was the coolest thing, based like Darren said too, off the cards. And Wolverine was so much cooler. He wasn't Australian like Pride of the X-Men for whatever reason. But yeah, I was into Marvel, and I was into the X-Men, and then but not maybe for about 2 years, and then this came out, and it was exactly what I hoped it would be. So it was great.
I started off as obviously a toy guy, so Migos and stuff like that. So I was into Marvel like way back then, and then when Secret Wars dropped and they had those figures, and that was like my first introduction to Wolverine. I remember being at the store asking my parents for it. My dad's like, "That's not Batman. Put that down. You don't even know who that guy is." I'm like, "No, this guy's cool. He has claws and everything." And then seeing him, on Pride of X-Men in the Spider-Man show really like opened it up, and it was like, God, I got to start reading these and going to the grocery stores and stuff like that and getting the cards too. Me and my brother got the cards, we got the figures, we got the comic books, and we were just like all in. And yeah, that used to go home waiting for that show to be on after school every day. Like it was like, oh, we can't wait for that music to start and really just amp you up. Like, oh, what's gonna happen next? So yeah, I've been a fan since I was real little. So
that's kind of how, I mean, Darren, you guys might know, Darren and I went to school together, and we didn't run in the same friend group or anything, but X-Men kind of kept us like we were on the same wavelength because of X-Men, and
we always in junior high we always wound up in the same homeroom because our last names both ended with M, and they did it alphabetically. So yeah, like what, 6th through 8th grade? I didn't mean to interrupt, but 6th through 8th grade, I think we were in every single homeroom, and that's where we talked shop.
Miss Melgard, Mrs. Hall, and I don't remember the other one, but yeah, Darren, did you ever go to the antique store with Fast Eddie and pick up cards and comics?
I did.
Okay.
Actually, at that time, there was a little bad time in my life where I played. No offense to any Magic players, but I was playing Magic, and so we would all go down there and ride our bikes down there, and Fast Eddie's son would play. He'd always host some Magic. It felt like a poker game, but we were playing Magic. It was weird. Like, I don't know.
Hey, when you know the shop is run by a guy named Fast Eddie, you're in good hands. So that's really cool. I didn't know some of those that stuff about the X-Men. I just assumed that's when comics started, was in 1992 when the cartoon came out. But so with the cartoon, there were 76 episodes, and there were like 71 of them were really, really good. So tell me, well, I'll tell you first mine. So my favorite X-Men episode, it was hard to narrow it down. There were a lot of really good ones, was The Final Decision. And The Final Decision is the last episode of season 1, where the X-Men and Magneto team up to take down the Sentinel factory in Master Mold. And it's just really like 20 minutes of Sentinels being blown up and destroyed by the X-Men. And I was just in heaven. Whenever I have 20 minutes to kill, I put that episode on, and I rewatch it like it's brand new all over again.
That's actually probably my favorite too. Oh, okay.
They killed him.
But no, that's actually probably my favorite too. And as I mentioned, I'm a Gambit fan. So that one during that whole battle thing, when I think it was like Wolverine, Cyclops, Gambit, they're all going down the elevator, and it's like, oh, they're building it up like to their doom and everything. And at the bottom is just like tons of Sentinels waiting. And when the elevator opens, it's just the Ace of Spades, and it's glowing.
Yes.
And they're like, what is it? And like, it appears to be the Ace of Spade. And then all of a sudden it's just like huge explosions. They all come flying out of the hole. And yeah, that was awesome. So
Jean was with them too. She didn't do a thing.
Yeah.
She just kind of fell down and yelled for Scott a lot, but she was there.
Scott. But yeah, I always like the episodes too where they introduce like one of the characters that we already knew from the comics. So like, oh, Iceman's finally on, or ooh, there's Nightcrawler or Colossus, or I always enjoyed those too when they had kind of some of the other X-Men appear, and I thought that was always pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with you, Darren. That's always my favorites, when you have Nightcrawler, Colossus, Iceman, Havoc, and the X Factor, like the current that Peter David version of the X Factor with Multiple Man and Strong Guy, and all those guys showed up for a few. They didn't know they were brothers. You know, when they first appeared, Havoc and Cyclops, that kind of stuff. But my favorite, I'm probably going to be cheating, but I enjoyed when they played Monday through Friday, the Dark Phoenix saga. You got 5 episodes for the price of 1. You get to come home after school every day and see a new one. And it wasn't 100% true. And the only thing that he didn't like is, you know, there was not the repercussion that there was in the comics with Phoenix, or with Phoenix's final sacrifice. But it was still really cool to see the Shi'ar Empire, and like I said, just having 5 days of X-Men in 1 week was a pretty cool treat when that came out. So I like that one for sure.
So I think my favorite is the second to the last episode, and this isn't how they have it listed on Disney Plus. They have it in the wrong order, but it's an episode called Descent, and it's a episode that takes place in the 1800s, and it is Xavier's great grandfather, and he's hunting Mr. Sinister, who's basically created Jack the Ripper, and it's all about Mr. Sinister's perversion of the of Darwin's Origin of the Species. And I just thought it was a fascinating one-off episode. It's stuck with me ever since I first watched it. It's one I've gone back to regularly. I think I would love for like Hulu to take that idea and make like an X-Men spin-off live action show about the you know, the origins of mutants back in the 1800s and Mr. Sinister. And I just think it's a really cool story, a little one-off episode.
I haven't rewatched them in a while, but I was just looking through the titles and stuff like that. And Weapon X Lies and Videotapes is one of my favorite ones. The mind game back and forth with Sabretooth always comes to mind when I love that dynamic that they have, that battle back and forth. So, and I mean, not to bring off topic, but if Disney Plus does for this what they did for the Clone Wars for Star Wars, we're all gonna be happy because that was great. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that they do it like that, give it good justice. So,
Like, is this going to be 2D animation, 3D? What are they doing here? I don't know. Maybe they've already said.
It's supposed to be very similar. The lady that's in charge of the art, she released some pictures on her Twitter of art that she had done previously to getting this job. She had drawn the X-Men, and it looks very similar to what we already have. So as long as she sticks with that, we're good.
Okay.
I believe, didn't she also work on What If in some capacity? I don't know how much of a lead, which I liked it. I just hope there's not as many light sources. For whatever reason, What If, that kind of bothered me. I might be the only one, but there was always like a glaring light somewhere. They could be in the subway tunnel fighting zombies, and there was just like a bright sun in the corner off in every single frame. I don't know why that bothered me, but it did. And I hope that this doesn't suffer from the same malady.
I call it the J.J. Abrams effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be a new X-Men lens flare. No.
Right. Every time Wolverine pops his claws, there's just 4 bright suns, 6 bright suns.
Well, a piece of the art did come out when they announced it. The bottom of the Blackbird flew across the screen, and then it was a picture of the cast, and it's very, very, very close. They made some alterations to Jean. She's not wearing a nude costume. It is colored yellow now. And like they changed her belt a little bit, and they changed Storm's boots. But for the most part, it's very, very similar. So hopefully it makes it that way, because we still have, probably a year and a half out. I don't think that this is going to come out January 1st, 2023. But we've got a while, so who knows what could change.
Think of all the new toys you're going to be able to buy, Jared. I'm sorry.
I know.
Give us Morph. Let's go.
Yeah.
Time for more. It's time for more. Well, I mean, Hasbro is releasing X-Men the Animated Series figures. They're in boxes, and they're very stylized like the series. And I think they probably knew about this show coming when they announced it. But so far they've announced Wolverine, Jubilee, Mr. Sinister, Jean, and Storm. So we'll just see. We'll see. I'll buy all the X-Men all over again if they look animated. Not a problem.
The 3 were still up for
they'll
pre-order.
probably be $20 or like $50 each. Who knows?
$26.99.
Yeah, they were still up. The 3 were already up still for a while. They didn't sell out. So maybe after this announcement, maybe they will.
Well, I mean, Jubilee and Sinister is 2 of the lead characters to release. Just not a lot of hype, I think, too. But so with the animated series, we kind of already delved into this, but just to kind of wrap up. So tell me, like, what you're hoping for from this show, and what you're hoping it steers clear from. I mean, I have my expectations through the roof, so I already know I'm going to be disappointed. If every episode isn't Storm centric and the whole team is there, I'm just going to be bummed. But I really would like a couple things. I want to hear the voice of Cyclops has passed on, so I'd love to hear previously on X-Men stay there and have his voice just be that as kind of an homage to him. I think that's a really good callback for him. The intro song, like as soon as you say X-Men the Animated Series, you know exactly what the song sounds like. So keep the song. And I would say try and follow where they were in 1996. Let's introduce maybe Generation X. Let's see Operation Zero Tolerance or Onslaught or some of the stuff that was happening. I would hate for them to be like, let's introduce Pixie and let's introduce Messiah Complex and all kinds of stuff that's happening in the last 5 to 10 years in the X-Men comics now, when they have so much rich history to still hit. So that's what I'm hoping for with the show. And I guess with that, that's also what I'm hoping they steer clear of, is let's continue to mine those old stories before we get into some of the newer stuff.
Longevity, that's what I want. I want it to last longer. And Age of Apocalypse. I want to see that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's my 2 cents.
I'm gonna kind of tie in with what, as far as what I want to see with what Rick said about like the Clone Wars, just because like, and the animated series did this too, but they had these like, multi-episode story arcs that would, so it just wasn't like a 30-minute different thing here and there, or every week. They would actually tie in a lot of the episodes together, and that's what Clone Wars does. And it just makes the storytelling a little bit better. At the same time, a bunch of random characters, like you say, Jared, that nobody cares about popping up. I mean, that's the Disney formula right now. So that's my biggest concern. And unfortunately, I think it will happen. I don't know to what degree. I think they're going to not screw this up, and they're going to still really focus on like bringing back what the animated series was meant to be, but they're going to be sliding some stuff in there. It's just going to happen.
They have to. It sells merchandise. Introduces new readers to new characters, new toys. So, yeah. Nope.
Kathy's home, everybody.
Yeah, right.
I'm home.
Yeah, you're home. Jared says hi.
Hey.
No girls allowed.
Yeah, get out. We're talking
I
X-Men.
know where I'm not wanted.
All right, John, what were you going to say, man?
I was going to say, to make myself and anybody else feel old, you'll have to figure from the time the X-Men debuted till the time the X-Men cartoon debuted is going to be the exact amount of time from 92 to from 93 to 2023 is the same as from 63 to 93. So they have 30 years worth of stories, and in that time they went from printing 1 or 2 comics a month to about 30 X-Men titles that you can read right now. So they should have plenty of stories to dive into to get that longevity that Rick wants. But hopefully they stay away from the Chuck Austin stuff and we'll be okay. I would like to see maybe some of the John Cassidy and the Danger storyline that they did. I kind of like. I liked Grant Morrison's storyline, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to put a bare-chested Wolverine in a leather coat on there, and I don't think they want to see that. But
it sells merchandise.
The Nova were good, right? They could pick up at the Onslaught and the Age of Apocalypse and stuff, but then you can go, and then you could keep going. And then the other question I have, and I don't know how much I would like it, and it would depend how they did it, is are you going to tie it into other elements of the Marvel universe now that it's Disney Plus and everything's owned by the Disney company and there's more freedom for them to do stuff like that? We did see Captain America and like you said, Black Panther, just a cameo of Spider-Man's hand, Spider-Man crossover. So are we going to get more of that? Do we want that? If it's done well, yeah, but I don't know. Because it's not going to be MCU, it's going to be the X-Men animated universe. So that's, if they could do it, as long as they do it right. Yeah.
Right. That's a great point.
Disney's trying a lot of experiments right now on different things, different shows and everything. And that's what has me worried. Like,
right.
Just don't mess it up.
Yeah. Does this mean that, like, when Agatha Harkness gets her show, does that mean we're going to get an animated Agatha Harkness showing up in the cartoon?
Right.
Oh, man. And I liked Agatha on WandaVision, but I don't know if I want to watch a whole show about her character. Like, this is the absurdity that I'm talking about. What Disney's trying to do on stuff like this. And I think everybody kind of has their own little nitpicks about them, but that's one of mine.
Maybe they could just show the Watcher and this be one of his side universes that he's keeping an eye on, and it's not really part of any of the others, but
yeah,
they can introduce stuff that way.
Right. So this is the same universe as the Spider-Man, the animated series, because in the season 3 Mutant Agenda, the entire X-Men from the X-Men animated series showed up for like 2 episodes or something like that. Eugenic Nightmare or something like that. It was a whole season run storyline. So yeah, so they can tie back into those series and they can still have the entire Marvel universe. I hope they stick to 90s characters, except for Extreme, because he is the worst character of all time. Or Marrow, they can stay away from her too.
Maggot.
Maggot. But I really hope they stick to 90s and pre-90s storylines. My biggest hope is that they kind of stick to the tone where it is a kid show, but it's something that, you know, an adult, you know, or parent can watch with their kids, or someone like me who's just an adult child can watch and enjoy still. So I mean that's really what I'm hoping for, is they keep the tone. They don't try to they don't try to mature it up too much, and they don't try to kiddie it up too much. And yeah, just anything up to Grant Morrison's run, I think is fair game, but I hope they stay away from that and anything after.
Yeah, I think there's still so many stories that can be mined. You know, go to the Australian outback for a whole season, you know, get them down there and see what happens. The Phoenix saga, you know, that was from like in the comics, it's like from issue 100 to 128. And they got that all into 5 episodes. You know, there's still more. We get Mesmero and all that stuff that happened in there with Banshee, and all kinds of great stuff can still be found in those Claremont stories, you know.
I would love an Inferno storyline. I think that would be fun. I don't know how you would do that and keep it kiddie, but it would be fun. I mean, yeah.
What would Madeline Pryor wear? What would Havoc wear, for that matter? Well, cool, guys. I'm excited. I can't wait. We're gonna get some X-Men in cartoon form before we see them live action, but that's okay. That's totally fine with me. Just get me some X-Men, so I don't have to watch Agatha Harkness. You know.
Hold on, real quick. What other shows are you guys not looking forward to, and/or movies?
Echo.
The only thing I'm really looking for right now is Moon Knight. That's and then the Doctor Strange movie by Sam Raimi. That's kind of all I care about right now. So
I like Oscar Isaac a lot. I think he tries to put like a quality performance into everything he does, even though the movie's not always the best. But I like him a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Daredevil fan, but I never liked Echo from the beginning. She's just a deaf taskmaster, and I don't understand what the draw. But I mean, yeah, I'm kind of hoping She-Hulk might be good. I like the John Byrne and the Dan Slott She-Hulks. It's kind of a comedy / action. That's kind of what Marvel does anyway. And she's a strong enough character on her own. She's not created like Echo or Ironheart or all of these other. I mean, she's created obviously, but she's just not. It doesn't seem as cheap, I guess, to me. The She-Hulk.
I'm looking forward to Marvel Zombies and Secret Invasion. Those two are probably up there for me. But the rest of the stuff, it's like, it's Marvel, so I'll probably watch it, but I don't think there's any excitement for this stuff. Like, why Echo is an L level character? Why does she have a show? That's crazy.
Armor Wars might be pretty cool too. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see on that one, but that has some potential if they do it right, you know. So
I just kind of hope that they're just patting us down with like these Z level characters until we can really open up and get this X-Men and Fantastic Four going.
I like
that. Right. It's bad. I don't know if I should spoil the most recent Marvel movie, but I'll just say the 2 D-list characters that made that showed up in the post-credits were more exciting than the Z-list characters throughout the whole movie. Like, that's how bad it is. There's 2 D-list characters, and you're like, oh, I kind of like them.
Oh, great.
From the 80s Avengers, but no. That's what you're hoping for. That's not good. That's why we need the X-Men and Fantastic Four back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, too.
And with that, guys, we're out of here.